Welcome to the show, and welcome to Close Up Right. This is an intelligence report on the Tumbler Red shooting, published and written on February 13, 2026. Precedence is routine. Bottom line up front. On February 10, 2026, transgender active shooter in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, Canada, kills 2 in private residence. Goes to Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. 6 more killed by gunfire. 25 plus wounded. Suspect fatally shoots self with firearm. Authorities call subject, quote, a woman in a dress with brown hair. And, quote, gun person. At approximately 14:15 local time at February 10, 2026, an active shooter warning was announced by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, in the areas of Tumbler Ridge, Chetwynd, Dawson Creek, and areas surrounding them. Residents were advised to stay in a place of home or business, lock their doors, and call 911 for sites of suspicious activity. Suspect was described as, quote, a woman in a dress with brown hair by Canadian authorities in this announcement. Suspect armed with a firearm kills 2 individuals in a private residence, later reported as a mother, Jennifer Strang, age 35, as well as a step-brother, age 11, by the CBC. RCMP reports the victims' names were Emmett Jacobs, 11 years old, Jennifer Jacobs, 39 years old. Following that, the suspect entered the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School and opened fire on adults and children within the school, killing an additional 6 individuals and wounding roughly 25, until the suspect fatally terminated himself with a self-inflicted GSW. The victims killed identified were as follows, according to the official statement by the Tumbler Ridge RCMP. Abel Maswana Jr., 12 years old. Ezekiel Schofield, 13 years old. Kylie Smith, 12 years old. Zoe Benoit, 12 years old. Takaria Lampert, 12 years old. Shonda Agivugana Durand, 39 years old. Additional victims were as follows. 12-year-old female victim, Maya Jebela, in critical condition, another unidentified victim requiring hospitalization, and 25 others with non-life-threatening injuries. Following this attack roughly within the next 24 hours, Canadian authorities would not disclose the identity of the suspect and would claim that the gender identity is female. Yet global private investigators would conduct research on identification of the suspect, as well as associated social media activity and archiving, primarily observed on Kiwi Farms and X. Law enforcement, in a public statement, referred to the suspect as, quote, a woman in a dress with brown hair, as well as gun person.
That includes the deceased gun person.
Okay. And then separately, do you know the gun person's relationship to the...
Yeah. What can you tell us about the shooter at this stage?
We're still trying to determine a lot about the shooter at this stage right now. We believe we've been able to identify the shooter, but for privacy reasons and obviously for the conduct of the investigation, we're not releasing that information at that time until we're assured that we've connected with the appropriate people and identified things.
And as a follow-up,
On Facebook, an individual who claims to be a neighbor to the suspect, Anna Knoll, described the suspect as, quote, young man who dressed up as a girl, end quote, as well as claiming that the suspect, quote, killed his mom, kid, brother, sister. Another individual on X who claims to also be a neighbor, Cole Atkin, says, quote, Tumbler Ridge mass shooting. Suspect has been confirmed to be a transgender teenager. I live 4 doors down the road and was on scene initially, and the suspect killed his mother and brother with a shotgun and then killed 7 more at the high school and injured 25 more. Social media that the suspect has participated in has been scrubbed by moderators of social media. The suspect is identified as Jesse Van Rootseller. Pronouns was/were by the CBC. An 18-year-old transgender individual who is a biological male and Tumbler Ridge local. Social media from X and posts from Kiwi Farms initially reporting that the suspect's name as Jesse Strang, due to the relation of his mother having that surname. Additional news sources, such as an interview by Clayton Demain of Juno News, would publish an interview with an individual claiming to be the biological father, Justin Van Rootseller, who says that Jesse never used the Van Rootseller surname. Other online handles and aliases are listed below. Initial reports with a photograph of what claimed to be of the suspect is misidentified as an individual going by Justin Strang or Zaili Strang, the same surname but an older 24-year-old individual, likely a cousin. Assuming that one of the victims killed is a stepbrother and the mother and son having different surnames, the father has separated from the life of the family around 2009. The suspect's social media has been archived by several private individuals who can give a view on the suspect. The suspect has been online since approximately the age of 10, and would also participate in Roblox. Later would have the same Roblox accounts participate in a grooming subgame called The Dollhouse, as well as creating and uploading an active shooter subgame. Reported Roblox accounts under the context of Ruben Sim and Schlepp, who initially reported these connections, have also discovered exploitation of children and criminal activity under that same video game, previously before. The suspect would feature avatars in reference to 777, a possible group within 764, comms groups, or other accelerationist nihilist groups. An X account was created on January 2026, which was also thought to be from the suspect with a name change that also occurred in January. Behavior displayed is typical of that of transgender accelerationist nihilism, NVEs, and that would feature and include an avatar of the New Zealand shooter for the Christchurch shooting, the Black Sun, as well as a transgender flag. This account is more likely to be that of a hoax and not real. The suspect would have multiple mental health crisis events documented throughout his life. Self-published on Reddit. On Reddit, at the r/MTF subreddit, posted on March 2023 would compare his body image to that of anime girls. This would be compounded in another post on the same subreddit in April 2023 with similar messaging, hating himself regarding natural teenage growth and puberty. More posts found on Reddit would claim about owning 7 firearms as a minor, as well as ideation to self-terminate. On June 2023, he would post on Reddit wearing makeup and female clothing. On October 2023, he would consume psychoactive mushrooms and psilocybin and would be hospitalized, about even odds voluntarily or involuntarily, and make claims of burning his house down after consuming drugs. Reported by the Globe and Mail as an ignited mattress. Suspect would post on the r/trans subreddit seeking to acquire needles for self-sourced hormone replacement therapy. Statements by the Deputy Commissioner for the British Columbia RCMP, Dwayne MacDonald, has also stated the suspect has had several mental health issues and has conducted self-harm. According to the Globe and Mail, RCMP said police had visited the family home multiple times over the past several years because of the shooter's mental health issues, apprehending him more than once under the Provisional Mental Health Act for psychiatric assessments.
Data from Global News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So a suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
Could you expand on that?
I'll give you perhaps remaining some general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up. To be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned for those firearms to be returned, and they were.
Regarding firearms-related activity not already aforementioned in the report, firearms recovered at the scene were reported to be a long gun and what they say, a modified handgun. It is unknown of the mode of transportation used, such as a car, bicycle, and foot, or the exact make and model of the firearms used in the incident. The mother has posted a picture of the firearm safe on August 6, 2024, which shows as follows: a bolt-action rifle, unknown caliber in a sporterized configuration, an unknown firearm, a pump-action shotgun with black synthetic furniture and a pistol grip, an unknown rifle, a Crest Vector carbine, an SKS carbine, a likely Ruger 1022 rimfire rifle. An additional possible firearm is also located in the safe. Bulk pack 22 long rifle ammunition is also seen in the safe, as well as that of a clip of ammunition, likely 7.62x39 for an SKS, as well as a detachable box magazine for a rimfire rifle, likely that for a Ruger 1022. On his subreddit r/transguns, the suspect has posted a video of himself firing a Desert Eagle handgun in October 6, 2023. This activity was done at the Bullet and Broadheads Shooting Center, about 2 or 3 hours away from Tumbler Creek, located at the following address below. This can be identified by a flagship range rental pistol, a Desert Eagle semi-automatic handgun, and a gold tiger stripe finish. The suspect did not possess a valid firearms license during the shooting. Firearms initially confiscated by authorities in 2024, but were later returned by petition of the owner. It is unknown which particular firearms were confiscated or returned, or who specifically the owner of these firearms in that household are. However, since the February 10 shooting, moderators of r/transguns have scrubbed activities by the suspect on a subreddit in an attempt to scrub evidence. While it is unknown which moderators specifically deleted posts, Blahaj Blaster is one of the most active moderators. Blahaj Blaster himself has posted on February 11, 2026 regarding the recent event as part of damage control.
Analyst comments can be found right below. The likely chain of events within Canada is that the government would focus more on perceived political correctness of the shooter's gender than that of allocating resources to conduct a more proper and thorough investigation. As a result, multiple official sources such as that of the RCMP as well as state-run press such as the CBC would have conflicting and different names for individuals involved, such as the suspect and victims, which would further detract from actually bringing justice to the victims and to bring order to chaos.
This would include statements broadcasted by officials such as gun person and woman in a dress. Despite multiple calls for gun control in Canada, as well as the likely involuntary hospitalization of the suspect, as well as several visits from the RCMP to the suspect's residence due to mental health incidents with self-harm, as well as documented drug use such as mushrooms and psilocybin. A response likely by the Canadian government afterwards by the shooting would be additional pushes towards gun control and restriction of arms from the law-abiding Canadian citizen, due to historical responses regarding mass shootings and other criminal conduct regarding the misuse of firearms.
This may also allocate resources in the future to charge journalists and other individuals to conduct speech with hate crimes, not too different than other incidents involving criminal conduct of other transgender individuals within the Commonwealth, such as in the UK and in Ireland.
Behavior and ideology displayed by the suspect is extremely similar to other transgender NVEs, seen in other active shooting events such as the August 2024 Annunciation Catholic Church shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as well as the 2023 Nashville, Tennessee school shooting. It is recommended to look further into the social media the suspect has participated in, such as Roblox subgames, as well as subreddit pages such as r/transguns. There is an overlap of NVE behavior and crimes, as well as that regarding activity among transgender paramilitaries such as Stonewall Underground, which Blahaj Blaster, the most active moderator of that subreddit, is the commander of. Especially if it is confirmed that Blahaj Blaster is the one who has deleted activity or evidence from the suspect. Despite certain efforts, the suspect's activity has been archived extensively by users on Kiwi Farms, and were able to whittle down false positives such as Dustin Strang. And additional information for this following report can be found in the video description down below, and a text version of this report can be found on the official X page of GlowSobright at GSB_actual. Thank you very much for watching.
Now, if you'd like to help support GlowSobright in research and reporting on these subjects, go and financially support it with the Ko-fi page down below for a one-time donation, or you can do so on a repeated basis on both Ko-fi and Subscribestar. Links are down below. However, the best way to show support for GlowSobright would be to like, comment, share, subscribe, engage, retweet, and repost. Doing so greatly helps a lot, and it's the best way to have this sort of information be brought to light on these terrible, terrible events and subjects. Thank you very much for your patronage.